Bring it on. Want some, get some. Can I get a hell yeah? Yes, I am a pirate. You have to go with the pirates because, of course, they have cannons and everything.
It's a pirate's life for me.
Be proud of who you are and what you are. You're pirates.
It is a first down. Pirates.
Because when you're at East Carolina, you go for it every time. Or you don't coach at East Carolina, you don't come to East Carolina, you don't play at East Carolina with a weak heart. Write it.
I don't think I've ever been in a building as loud as that was. It was deafening in there.
We will get them on. I can promise you that.
Red and purple all night long in Eastern North Carolina.
You're watching The Sports Objective, the podcast for Pirates.
Baby fly. I'm a pirate down of my soul, and I don't back down not at all. Find out when the cannons.
All right, welcome into a very special edition of the Pirate Football Playback Sunday night on the Sports Objective, if you will. And we're going to have a lot of fun tonight. I promise. We're still on that high from the Military Bowl. Let's bring in a man that knows about a lot of football highs for sure. I'm talking about Kyle from the Grange Barber. What's up, dude?
Not about all kinds of highs. What's going on, Dave? Cool today to see the turnout for everybody to, talk to Rajay, get the autograph picture. Great picture, by the way. For that to be for free, printed out with the score, and it looks 8x10, but I think it's a little bigger. Either the picture's bigger than 8x10, or my frame is mislabeled as 8x10. One or the other, because I'm going to need a bigger frame. I need to measure the picture, but. Anyway, great turn. I would think there was more people there for that than there was the actual game. I'm not sure. There was a lot of people there for that. Some of the people stayed for the game. Some people left. But really good turnout for that today. And, good crowd for the game considering there was no students there. And unfortunately, we had every opportunity to beat Florida Atlantic in basketball and didn't get it done. But we'll talk about that later. Stevie, Fly, filling in tonight for Bubba Rosenbaum. What's going on, brother?
Not much, bud. How you doing? We're trying to see if we can avoid this winter weather that's all around us right now.
Speaking of winter weather, a man that says, don't complain about the blankety-blank winter weather. It's brutal. We're talking about Matt Semenza, former linebacker for the Pirates under Steve Logan. Matt, isn't that right? You're going to tell us to shut up about the freezing rain when you could be living in Connecticut?
It's a nice balmy day here, Dave. It's about 26 degrees, and it's just a nice day. We'll take it. But looking forward to catching up with you guys tonight. It's cool to have Stevie. I haven't talked to Stevie. Stevie, I feel like I haven't talked to you for like 5 months, but be good to catch up with you guys. And a lot of activity in the recruiting and the portal. The portal giveth and the portal taketh.
I think, guys, I want to get your I'm glad you said that, Matt. Matt's been our expert since the jump of the transfer portal. And in fact, we joke that he has an apartment in there because he's spending so much time. And I'm glad that Chrissy allows you to be in your apartment in the transfer portal. But seriously, I want to get your guys' take on this. Do you guys think it feels like, and maybe because we had the win over State and we're just like in that euphoria still, do you guys think we did better? Like, in other words, we did lose key pieces, but yet it seems like we did better getting people than having them leave and take it away. What do y'all think?
It's yet to be determined. I mean, we got some pieces right now we're trying to pick up that if we get them picked up, the secondary is still a concern to me. That's the big to be determined. But, you got the edge rusher from Sam Houston State. You got the other edge rusher from Houston that wants to sign, that apparently we're dealing with some compliance issues on. I'll rant on that later. We got Matt. I'm gonna flip it over to you, man. You're gonna have all these names here better than me with the portal, because God knows I'm horrible with names. But what are your thoughts on what we've done in the portal so far? And quickly, name the guys if you have them in front of you that we have signed and who we are trying to sign right now, who the targets are. But first, if you will, talk about who we have picked up.
Yeah, so let's just kind of take a look at what's been going on this weekend. Some of the most recent commitments. Um, One of the ones I really like is the running back from the University of Houston, and that's Parker Jenkins. He's a bigger back. He's about 5'11", 190-ish in that range. You look at him, fellas, coming out of high school. He's a guy. He had offers, and this is just 2 years ago. He had offers. If you look at his list, I'm talking LSU, Florida, Oregon, Penn State. Those are schools that don't just offer any running back. So this is clearly a guy who has ability. I think he was a 10.8 100-meter guy in high school. So he can run. At his size, he can definitely run. And, I think when you look at the room we have, you look at London Montgomery, he's kind of a speed back. And I'm not really sure exactly what's going on with Marlon Gunn. He's been banged up. I didn't see him in the bowl game. So I think this was a really important guy to go out and get. Now, he's one of the announced commitments from this weekend. So we'll just kind of start it off with him. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on him, but I think it's a really necessary signing, and I think it's a good pickup.
Yeah, quickly, I'll talk about Parker. Almost 500 yards rushing as a freshman and limited playing time. Had 3 touchdowns against Sam Houston State as a freshman. Did not play Did not play much this year under Willie Fritz's offense as he did under Dana Holgerson as a true freshman. Don't really know why. Big system change. Fritz runs a option type offense, and obviously Dana's spread hurry up offense, similar to what we do. So he should be a good fit, but. You rushed for almost 500 yards on limited carries as a freshman, 3 touchdowns in one game. You expect to have an explosive sophomore year and got very little playing time, but I think he has a huge upside. I think it's a great pickup.
Yeah, guys, and we know that legends never die, so it's going to be hard to replace Rajay. Having said that, you're talking about a guy. By the way, guys, I looked this up. Rajay had 1,167 yards if you count the bowl game for the year. So altogether, so it's hard to replace that. But at the same time, we've got guys that, like you said, Matt. I love Marlon Gunn Jr., but I'm just concerned about his health. I think that's been the biggest key for him. And obviously, Javius Bond was asked to leave, I think. But I think running backs, we are good.
Yeah, Parker was a good pickup. Steve, you got any thoughts on Parker before we?
Yeah, I'm trying to look at see who was ahead of him. Why? Trying to get some. Maybe it was not a good fit for him with that new coach at Houston. But trying to look at the stats and see who was ahead of him and how they did. But definitely looks like a good pickup. Just like Matt said, he had a bunch of big offers when he was coming out of high school, 4-star recruit out of high school. So, and with that speed and that size, I'm looking forward to seeing him as a Pirate.
Yeah, and we'll now have 2 scholarship running backs, Stevie, on the roster that had offers from Penn State coming out of high school.
Yeah, that's big there.
Yeah, one thing about Penn State is that's running back you. I mean, they've had so many good ones. Right now, obviously the one Saquon Barkley that kind of is in everybody's mind, having a monster season with the Eagles. But so that's a great sign. We have 6 scholarship running backs on the roster now. When you add him, we just got a JUCO commitment from his last name is Lacey, and
he put up big numbers too.
Yeah, he's another one who can go. So you feel pretty good there. So that's the first guy. Another announced commitment this weekend is kind of an interesting one, and that's Xavier McIver. And he played here for 3 years. He's an interior D lineman, nose D tackle. I think he's more of a D tackle. But I think when you look at his pickup, I think he's the type of guy, if you can get anywhere from 180 to max 220 snaps from him, and I mean quality snaps on the D-line at around 6'2", 300 pounds, he's a guy that can really help you. I mean, when you look at how we rotate D linemen here, if you can get 200 snaps out of him, you feel really good. He's probably not going to, have a bunch of big plays and flashy plays and sacks, but he's a guy who you can plug in. He knows the system, and he's going to be solid, against the run on the interior. What are you guys' thoughts about him?
I remember when he was here, he was, always kind of a decent player, nobody that ever blew you away, but always steady. We're really surprised he didn't start at UT Martin. He got a lot of playing time at UT Martin, played in 11 out of 12 games. Or no, they only played 11 at the FCS level during the regular season, so he played in all 11 games. I think he was more like their sixth man, so to speak. I think he kind of played at several different positions on their D line. But he's a guy that provides quality depth. If he's starting, I'll be a little concerned. But as a depth piece, he was quality depth when he was here before, and that shouldn't change now for his last year of eligibility.
Yeah, it should be good. Matt, I want to get your thoughts as far as what Kyle was talking about, as far as the secondary with the D-backs, with the DBs. Does that room scare you with the number of defections we've had?
It did, but I'm starting to feel a lot better about it. And, obviously last week we picked up Jordy Lowry from Western Carolina. He was a FCS All-American, so you feel like he's a plug-and-play guy at one of the corner positions.
You got Tegan Wilkes back from Houston. Was a starting safety here in the past. He'll be starting again.
Yeah, you bring Wilk back. Who the thing I like about Wilk is I kind of like his versatility. Like you can play him, strong safety. You can play him nickel. He can even, in certain passing situations, when you have more of like a dime look on the field, he can play almost more of like a hybrid linebacker. You could do a lot with him because he can come down in the box and tackle as well. So I think the biggest thing for Tegan Wilk is just, he bulked up quite a bit, it looked like, and I think he just needs to maintain his speed to be able to cover in the secondary. But you got to like that.
And another thing about Wilk, guys, is that I have a lot of respect for him because, Matt, he's like you. And Bubba, he's a real football player. He's very smart. He student of the game. And like you said, the one thing that I've noticed about him, he's got, and I want to get your take on it, Matt and Stevie, especially. His technique for tackling is like flawless. He's a really good tackler, and that's seems like in this day and age of college football, that's a lost art.
You could definitely look watching the bowl game, even watching us in the bowl game. There was a lot of missed tackles. I mean, Hollywood from NC State got a lot of his yards after missed tackles. So yeah, that is a fine art. Believe me, as a coach, if you see somebody can come out there and do has good form tackling and knows what they're doing, you're like really surprised. He said, but yeah, that I liked Tegan when he was here before. Glad to see him come back.
Absolutely. That's no doubt about it, Stevie. And then, since we're on topic here with the secondary, we mentioned Lowry at one corner. You got interesting guy on campus this weekend, and there's nothing official yet, at least that I can see. Like, I'm trying to confirm, I'm trying to look at Instagram, Twitter, and seek actual commitments. But a guy by the name of Key Crowell, who is a Division II player, and obviously,
stud freshman.
Yeah, I mean, I got to tell you. So I watched his film. I always try I try not to just go on stars or what people say. I try to watch film and see some things and what I see on film from him is he has the ability to backpedal, and then when the wide receiver breaks, he has the ability to flip his hips. Okay, and pretty smooth and fluid way. He can flip his hips, and he looks to have really good speed too. Now that's something I didn't really see from some of our corners in the bowl game. And Stevie, as a coach, I'm happy to have your opinion here, but I didn't really see the ability to flip the hips. I saw guys playing, 10 to 15 yards off who, just really didn't have that ability. Not to knock on those guys. So I think when I see him, he's a guy that can contribute. What do you think, Stevie?
Yeah, look, that's one of the most frustrating things as I've coached over the years is getting my guys to flip their hips. They want to run with the guy and then can't turn around no matter how hard I try. So, just like we talked about tackling for him, but flipping the hips is so important. And hopefully, I'm just looking at some of this guy's stuff on social media right now, as you said. Hopefully, they can sign this guy. This guy looks like he could be pretty good.
Yeah, Key had 5 interceptions as a freshman. I forgot how many tackles he had. It was a real high amount. And even at a D2 school to do that, he is a Division I player that got overlooked. And look, you know how good he is. And this is what scares me about getting him. His offer list out of the portal is really good. Including some other American schools such as Memphis has offered him. I don't know if they're offering. If we get into NIL competition with Memphis, we're probably going to lose. I don't know that this kid is to the point where he's getting NIL money, at least real NIL money offered to him. But he is definitely a kid that he needs to put on a little bit of weight. You get him in a FBS weight room, I think he could be a star.
Yeah, and if you were able to get him, you feel really good about Lowry on one side now, and if you're able to get him now, all of a sudden your entire outlook for your secondary is so much better, right? Because you now have two guys who you feel like can start at this
You just
level.
need depth there at that point. Yeah, if you get him, you just need depth. And we got several DBs that entered the portal that are still sitting there. I wouldn't be surprised when all said and done if one or two of those kids end up coming back. If we'll have them back, I wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, hope we get Key. And then Matt, are there other kids that we need to mention that we have signed before we get into some other potential targets?
Yeah, I mean, there's some guys from last week, Kyle.
Yeah, where the wide receiver from Oklahoma was a big get.
Big get, Petaway, if I'm saying his name right, Jaquez Petaway, who he's more of a interior slot receiver, shifty type guy that can make you miss in a phone booth, which is really, when you look at what we have on the outside, with Yannick Smith and
The other Smith.
Yeah, the other Smith, sorry. And some of the taller guys we have, it's good to have, a true slot receiver. But, I feel really good about what we have at wide receiver. I think we have some young guys, too, that haven't played yet that are going to be really solid players here.
And it's Anthony Smith.
Anthony Smith, thank you. Thank you, Kyle. So him. But then, a few other ones that I want to mention. I think I'm feeling a lot better about the O-line all of a sudden. We picked up Kyle Long, 6'6", 300 pounds from Maryland as a grad transfer. And I think he has the ability to play guard or tackle, but I think he's more of a guard here. And then a tackle, Cooper, and I'm going to kill his name, Tarnavsky, I believe is how you say it, 6'5", 295. He is more of a true offensive tackle. And I think that's what we recruited him for. So, you feel really good size from those guys. They both look like they can move their feet a little bit. And, you feel pretty good now about what you're starting to see on the O-line.
Yeah, we had a lot of pieces coming back on the O-line anyway, so didn't need to do as much work there as some might have thought.
Right.
And then you look at guys that we're trying to get on the defensive line right now, some edge rushers, et cetera. You got two. You got one, another kid from Houston. What is his name, Matt? That is here, wants to sign, and we're trying to get some compliance issues cleared up with him.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Nadeem Tucker, I believe, is how you say it, Kyle.
Yeah, Tucker. Look, I don't know what the issues are, so I'm not going to get too far out in left field here. But I'll say this to the East Carolina administration: it is 2024, or excuse me, it is 2025, and we're in the day and age of NIL. And look, unless this kid has some kind of criminal stuff, or just get him in, just get him signed. Come on, I mean, I know, you still have to go by NCAA compliance, but at this point, does the NCAA really? Do they really even give a damn anymore? I mean, just get the kid here. He's somebody we need. Maybe he can't sign right now, but you can certainly get his ass enrolled, and then we can sign him. He gets his grades taken care of, and we can sign him at the end of the spring semester. So that could be a thing. So hopefully Tucker will end up here and continue that Houston pipeline. He looks to be very talented on film. Matt, talk about him, and then the kid from Sam Houston State that is also visiting this weekend.
He really does look talented on film. He's originally from the Bronx, New York. So for any Yankee fans out there, a kid from the Bronx, which
Probably
is
be more at home here than he is down in Texas.
probably, and but kind of limited film. Like I was trying again. I tried to do my own research on these guys. What I saw from him though was he's got some ability to really bend his hips. As an edge rusher, as like a true edge rusher, he's got some ability some explosion and some ability to bend his hips. And we really need a guy like that. Like a true edge rusher that can bend and make plays. And I like in the limited film I saw in him, I can absolutely see why we've offered him and why he would fit in, and like, you guys all know, like we rotate a ton on defense. Like you might be a starter and get 35 snaps in a game because we rotate so much, but he's a guy that will, if we can get him in, he will definitely play here. And I see a pretty big role for him, if he's able to make it in.
What about the kid from Sam Houston State? Same kind of kid, edge rusher. I think he started at Sam Houston State, who had a terrific defense this year.
Yeah, another type guy like that, like edge rusher. He was productive. Like when you look at his numbers when he played, I think he had 7 sacks over 2 years. And I got to give credit to 247 Sports because I read through there. They have a lot of great information too. So I want to credit them. I like some of these stats I'm getting from 247, but I think he had 7 sacks over 2 years, 11 or 12 pressures. Not sure how stout he is against the run, but we need guys who, when it's 3rd and 8, 3rd and 10, whatever it is, we need guys who can generate pressure on the quarterback, and he seems to be another type guy like that. So definitely somebody you want to get. I don't see anything official yet on him, but I think if we can land both of those guys and the corner, Crowell, I think you're starting to feel really good about this defense.
And that's the thing, guys, is that with one good thing is with the offense, like we talked about, is really good. And then if you pick up these pieces for defense, that's what I'm saying. I know that's hard to say, guys, because we have to wait till August 30th the next time we play our rival NC State. And and by the way, have you guys noticed they've had a mass exodus in Raleigh as well?
Yeah, it sounds like there was a problem with some NIL funds not being paid to some state players. I didn't read into it exactly. Stevie, you know anything about that, or Matt?
I vaguely saw a story about it earlier today when I was looking up some stuff, but I'm not sure about all the details on that.
Matt, do you know anything about it?
Well, what's interesting about their portal hits was that it seemed to happen on like the last possible day before the portal closed. Like a lot of those guys, they expected to be back. And, within 24 hours of the portal closing, those guys just kind of hit. And I think it was a pretty big shock to a lot of people over there from what I can see. At least our guys were kind of gradual, like, Barker was early December, like it didn't all happen on the last day. That's tough. But it definitely makes you feel better about playing them next year in the opener.
How hysterical would it be if we could get a couple of those guys?
Hey man, if they're not against us, they can be with us.
Exactly. If you can't beat them, join them.
Yep,
if you can't beat them up, and join them.
One position that I haven't heard about the portal, and I'm a little concerned about because we had 3 quality guys there this year, and we lose 2 of them. And that's tight end. Matt, Matt, have you seen anything in the portal about tight ends? Because I have not.
Only thing I've seen, Kyle, is we did offer a tight end from Florida. Looks to be more of what I think we need is an inline blocker, like a true old school tight end who can block. You can use him as like H-back. I think the guys we have, Kyle, like, you think about like Riles and Connor from Ole Miss, they're more receiving type tight ends.
Yeah.
But like we saw in that bowl game, Casey Kelly had a big effect on that game with his blocking. So guys, I think we need another. I'd love to have another like a true old school inline blocker that we can use at tight end.
No. I had a question for you guys, and if we need some more on the transfer portal. But what do you guys think about JUCO with that not counting against your eligibility? So you could do a couple of years at JUCO, you come to us, and it's like you're a freshman, and you can still and you can be and oh, by the way, Stevie, Matt, and Kyle, you can be redshirted, which means you get another year. So
I don't like it.
you could have you could actually have a undergrad and a graduate degree and still be playing for the Pirates.
Yeah, I don't like it. I'll tell you why. If you're, let's say, Alabama, Oklahoma, somebody with a lot of money, and you're a kid coming out of high school that you like, maybe they won't do this because they're just going to, they can just get him later from East Carolina, but it won't hurt his eligibility. So let's say we'll just use Georgia for example. Georgia likes a kid, but not good enough to sign him right now. But they want him. I don't know how the rules are going to play out, but what's to say they can't go ahead and give him some NIL and say, hey, don't sign with ECU, don't sign with Middle Tennessee, don't sign with Georgia Southern. We're interested in you. We don't want your eligibility hurt, but we don't think you're ready to quite play the SEC yet. Why don't we, send you to Hutchinson Junior College, and we'll pay you $10,000 a year while you're there or whatever, and then come play for Georgia if you develop properly. So that's the kind of BS that I don't want to happen. If they're going to make this rule, they need to make it very clear: nobody can receive any money from any Division I schools while you're in junior college. That needs to be a rule. If that gets put into place, where you can't be playing these kids to go stay at junior college for 2 years, then come play for you. If that gets put into place, then I think the rule really doesn't affect anything. I really, I don't see a kid going, well, I'm not going to go play at East Carolina because I want to play at Georgia Tech. So I'm going to go play at junior college for the next 2 years, unless Georgia Tech's willing to pay him a couple years to go do that because they think he's going to be a good player down the line. So that rule needs to be put in place immediately. If that rule is put in place, I'm okay with it. Dave decided that he wanted to become. There we go. So if that rule is put in place, I'm okay with it. If not, then I think it's going to be a nightmare. What say y'all?
What you're saying is they're trying to turn junior college football into like a farm system for.
I'm scared that's what they're trying to do. Yeah. I'm scared.
I agree. That they need to go ahead and nip that in the bud right away because this whole thing is getting ridiculous, guys. I mean, we've talked about it before. The transfer portal and everything. There's got to be some guidelines that are made for this, or it's going to get out of control. I think me and you, Kyle, talked about it's like the wild, wild west of it right now, and hopefully, soon it's going to come. Some guidelines have got to come into it before long.
I think revenue sharing will help with that. I really do. I think once you have the actual schools paying out a percentage of revenue to these players, you're going to see a lot of this crap reeled in, and more guidelines put into place. But the JUCO rule, again, I'm fine with it unless schools are allowed to pay players while they're in JUCO. That needs to be put as a no-no right now. That should be a huge NCAA violation.
How about this? Robert has a great idea. I wish now Chowan would go back to JUCO. They'd be ECU's AAA team. It's not actually. I could see that working in our favor.
Well, because we can't pay. We don't have the money to pay players. So like I say, that rule needs to be put in place now. You cannot be playing any JUCO players until they are officially signed with you. Matt, what are your thoughts on the JUCO rule?
I like it a lot more for baseball, for college baseball, than I do for football, and I'll tell you why. And I'll just use a local team where I live here. I'll use UConn, right? UConn baseball barely recruits high school baseball players anymore because they can just go in the portal and, you can recruit a 21-year-old grown man with college baseball experience versus a kid out of high school who's 18. And so you're seeing fewer and fewer kids in baseball come out of high school now. So I think it's a really good thing for baseball. Obviously, like the numbers are totally different, scholarships and all that. So that's why I like it better there. But I agree, Kyle. Like whenever you do these things, there's some kind of ramification that's unintended. And I think what you're saying here is these colleges, they're going to try to stash players in JUCO. And I think you make a legit point. I mean, they're going to try to find any edge they possibly can to bend the rules or to, to take advantage. So yeah, I think
We
that's
need to get somebody on from the NCAA about that and make sure that there are going to be rules in place and they're actually going to enforce these rules to keep that from happening.
you're, Kyle, you're expecting a lot with the NCAA.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I
The
mean, to
NCAA is
me,
one thing we can all agree on.
they suck major dong these days. But I mean, that's just paying a player that's not even on your roster, and I'm talking about something that hadn't even happened yet. But that is my concern. Logan talked about it on the Logan Zone that he could see that happening, which kind of what put it in my head. And I don't want to, Matt. I know you love your former head coach, but Logan's not right about everything, but that is something that I did think he hit the nail on the head on. That is a concern he has, and I do too.
Well, that just shows you.
Sorry, Dave. Go ahead, Dave.
No, I was just gonna add one sentence. I was just gonna say that just shows you right there how crazy things are when we can all agree how bad the NCAA is. And I mean, I know, Kyle, you're very optimistic on things, but I just don't see. I don't trust the NCAA. I don't have.
I'm not optimistic on things. You mean about the portal? I just don't. The NIL is not going to be able to continue like this. It's not sustainable. And NC State's a perfect example. Look, Alabama, Oklahoma, et cetera, can do this. It ain't just East Carolina. It's the NC States of the world. It's the Virginia Techs of the world. They can't keep up at that level. And NC State couldn't pay out some stuff from their NIL and had a big surge of players enter the portal. That's what I'm saying. I guarantee you, is eventually this stuff's going to start to be regulated some, or it could be both. You're going to have the elites, the SEC and the Big Ten, and a handful of schools from the Big 12 and the ACC break away and form their own thing. One of the two or both is going to happen. But I guarantee you there's going to be some regulation to this. When you have Power 5 schools, Power 4 schools, rather, like NC State, Virginia Tech, they're the two that come to mind because they're regional. Look, the Virginia Tech competing for national championships are gone. That is not going to happen again in this NIL world. They don't have the money for it. And the same with NC State. They just don't have the money for it. And at the level to compete with the Clemsons, et cetera, the UNCs. And like I say, that's when some people are going to have to swallow their pride. And NC State is going to have to realize they're more like East Carolina than they are UNC when it comes to NIL. And so that's why I say some of this stuff's going to get reined in because it's not sustainable. And when you have revenue sharing begin, there's going to be a whole lot of people in these collectives that are going to go, all right, I'm done with this crap. I'm going to give to the Pirate Club. That money can be shared through revenue sharing, and that's going to clean a lot of this stuff up. I really believe that because to me, it always gets worse before it gets better. Matt, Stevie, and Dave, and do y'all agree? Matt, do you see it getting any worse than it is right now?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know if it could possibly get worse. And I think you make really good points about revenue sharing, Kyle. I do agree. I mean, who the hell wants to pay players? I mean, we have families, we have kids. I have kids in college. I have a kid in private school. Who the hell wants to pay college players? I mean, give me a break. How much do we have to pay for? So nobody wants that. And I hope, and guys, I'm gonna listen to you guys. I have a crazy day tomorrow, so I'm gonna get out of here in a minute, and I want to listen to you guys. But that's just, I think you're absolutely right. I hope the revenue sharing does fix it. And but final thoughts, guys, before I jump. If we can land this corner, Key Crowell, you feel really good about your secondary. I think now your needs shift to inside linebacker, getting some bodies there, some quality players, and also continuing to add to the interior D line. I would want one or two more to feel really good. But I appreciate you guys. Stevie, good catching up, man.
Same here, bud. Same here.
And Kyle and Dave, appreciate you guys. I'm gonna listen in, and I'm gonna jump.
Thanks, Matt.
And see you later.
All right, guys. See ya.
All right, peace out.
Peace out. That was Matt signing off here as he joins us to talk football. And guys, one more thing, as we'll flip to basketball here in a minute, but as we've kind of talked about the portal, all that needs to be talked about. I want to relive the bowl still a little bit, before we move on. It's been 1 week since the bowl championship. We had the picture signing with Rajay today at before the basketball game. There's still a lot of people that are celebrating that bowl win, the win over NC State. How many times, Stevie, Dave? How many times have y'all gone back and watched the game? I have not watched it in total from beginning to end, but I have watched highlights and the touchdown from Rajay and the pick by Nash, and just the highlights from the game, the celebrations after the game. I have spent hours combing through people's YouTube and Facebook and their TikToks, looking at people's highlights from the game. By the way, great video blog put up by Pirate Radio yesterday from Chandler Honeycutt, his trip up to the Military Bowl. If you haven't watched that on YouTube, give Pirate Radio some free plug here. Go check it out. Unbelievable. If you were there, start about the 20-minute mark, unless you really want to see Chandler going to the Military Bowl and all the other stuff. But the game stuff starts about the 20-minute mark. And if you really want to relive that atmosphere, it's one of the best videos I've seen of just reliving what that game was like and what that atmosphere was like. One of the best nights I've ever had as a Pirate, just an electric atmosphere. It felt like going back in time, as I've said multiple times here on the podcast. And Stevie, how many times have you watched that, or at least watched highlights of it since last Saturday?
Counting that Saturday night, I've watched that game 3 times in its entirety.
In its entirety, wow.
I mean, just going back and as a coach, you watch film a lot, and then going back and watching different things, like, obviously the Raji play, watching and seeing Bubba and Matt on the sidelines getting excited with Raji. That was because I spotted Bubba. I couldn't tell if that was Matt, but I did spot Bubba. I actually, that night during that stretch in the second half, texting back and forth with an NC State fan, and I told them we were up 20-7, and we missed the field goal. I said, "You watch, State's going to be up 21-20 in a few minutes. That's a momentum killer right there." And sure enough, they were like, "Wow!" And then after the interception got thrown, I turned it away for a second. I was disgusted, and next thing I know, I get a text. Well, y'all just scored and took the lead. And that was a scoop and score that somehow didn't get reviewed, and somehow had the guy didn't go down before he fumbled when he was standing straight up and all this stuff. But watching that and then hearing the State fan have to admit defeat, and then of course what all that other unnecessary stuff that happened after that. But I've watched it 3 times. It's one of those. Like you said, I think me and you, Kyle, talked about it. Watching something like that and ranking the ECU Bowl when it doesn't go above Peach Bowl for me, because
personally it does for me because I was there.
Oh yeah, being there, and if I'd have been there, maybe it would have been different. But that Peach Bowl was really special. But this right here. First time in how many years we've got a win over a Power 4 conference team? How many years was it?
2018, 6 years.
Yeah, so that plus.
Well, technically, BYU was an independent when we beat them in 22. But if you want to consider that a Power 4 win, I ain't going to argue with you.
And we beat them.
And they get it over NC State in a bowl game when none of the state people expected us to win. I mean, they can say what they want to now, but they were going into this thinking, "Oh, this is going to be a pushover. We got this." Even after losing some of their defensive players in the portal, they were going in there thinking they had this game won.
Well, they were all second string players. They were down 1 starter. We were down 5.
Yeah,
not many of our fans thought we were going to win it. To be honest, I was really the crowd, and that's something that hasn't been talked about. We sold 5,000 tickets, and we were talking about maybe 10,000. I think there was 15,000 Pirates there.
I heard.
Dave, what were your thoughts on the crowd? I mean, we haven't heard an official number, and I guess it's going to be impossible to get an official number because you just have to count how many people were wearing purple and gold because so many people bought their tickets from the bowl game. But 34,000 people in that stadium. Our side was pretty much full. I think there's 15,000 Pirates there.
Every bit of it. And to answer your question about how many, I've watched the Raji touchdown a million times. I haven't watched the game because I was really angry about some of the calls, so I don't want to relive that PTSD.
Who cares? Once you win, who cares?
I know, but the stupid score still bothers me. But anyway, I'm not trying to rehash that.
I think it makes it better because you score a touchdown right after it when they thought, I'm sure the state fans were glad about that BS call, as I would have been as a Pirate, and they thought they had it won 3rd and 10, and then you win it anyway. I mean, to me, it makes it even better.
Well, definitely for the fact that who scored the touchdown, Rajay Harris. I got a chance to talk to him today a little bit, and Alex's favorite player, his favorite players of all time, and it just made. I thought about this afternoon after I talked to Rajay, like because of his age, because he obviously is not going to remember anything before Holton Ahlers. So his favorite favorite players are Holton Ahlers, Keaton Mitchell, and Rajay Harris, and so. He said, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. My favorite player scored the winning touchdown. I said, well, there's a little bit more time. So anyway, I got breaking news, guys, from our portal expert, Matt Semenza. Fellas, de jure is official from Sam Houston. So
all right.
Wow.
That is a big get. Now, can we get the Houston kid also? And then, boy, oh boy, does our defensive line, the linebacking core, sure. Suddenly, we got some edge rushers. We can get some pressure on the quarterback, but that's a big-time get. He was a good player at Sam Houston. Did not expect to get him. Thought it might take a little NIL money that we might not be willing to spend, but good get. Now, can we get the kid from Houston cleared? And then we just need to work on that secondary a little bit and maybe a couple more linebackers. And I think defense is going to be pretty solid. Stevie, your thoughts on him?
Yeah, the more I read on that guy, I was kind of iffy on whether we get him or not. But yeah, that's a big get there. I'm almost as excited as Kyle was to hear that.
Justin Butt says, "Burn the boats, Kyle." Hashtag burn the boats, Kyle.
Yes, sir. That's big time. That's one thing I will say about the portal. If you're going to take a positive from it, it does give you. And maybe I wouldn't be damn as into it as I am right now if we hadn't won that bowl game, but it does keep football season going.
Definitely.
Yeah. Because I've been keeping up with this and monitoring it, and so from that aspect, if you have to turn a negative into a positive, it does keep your interest up.
Hurricanes just won in overtime over the Penguins. So if you're a hockey fan and you love the Hurricanes, that was a big deal. So.
Dave, I am not, but I'll tell you what, everybody says it's different if you go in person. And last night we were at Jessica's family's Christmas got delayed. Her family get together and tell us it yesterday because there was some sick people in her family. there was an illness.
I'm not touching that one.
There was
rephrase.
Yeah, there was an illness in her family. Correct. So it got delayed until yesterday, and the point of this being, a couple of her family members who are not sports fans at all. The husband of her cousin was given. His boss took them to the Hurricanes game along with some other employees, box seats, etc. As a Christmas present, and they had a blast. They had a blast.
Hold on, we got more breaking news. More breaking news.
Kroll official.
Oh, hell yes.
Sorry.
Hell yes. There you go. We got our DB.
Hey, Dave, you might want to bring up Justin Butt's last comment too. That may make Kyle feel a little bit better too.
What was it?
About
we'll be fine, Kyle. It's a minor issue.
Okay, the
point of having compliance issues.
Good deal. We're knocking it out of the park here.
Yeah.
So how about that? Two big commitments. Huge commitments. Commitments.
That is big time.
You know how we can celebrate? Stevie, have you ever been to a Hurricanes game?
Yes. And Kyle, you're exactly right.
Hockey is
totally different when you're actually there watching the game. So when you see it in person, it's totally different.
Yeah, I've never been to a Hurricanes game. I'll tell you a quick story about we had tickets. We bought tickets one time to go to a Hurricanes game, and the Pirates were playing in the semifinals of the CIT that night, and I went to the game in Greenville, right with the game that got us to go to the trip to Weber State. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
we sold our Hurricanes tickets. That was the one time we did have Canes tickets. Been inside that arena many times for concerts. Going again in March. Got tickets for Brooks and Dunn with David Lee Murphy. What the hell is it
Woo!
called now? They changed the name of it again.
Lenovo Center.
What is it?
Lenovo Center.
Lenovo Center. Okay. Well, they'll change it again probably before March. But
No,
that's the
it's like a
third damn
10-year
different
deal.
name that arena's had now.
It's a 10-year deal, dude.
Okay, well, good. They'll at least have the name for 10 years. But anyway, enough about the Hurricanes. Big time portal signees. That's exciting news.
Jessica says if Kyle approves, then everything will be all right. So just approve the damn thing, Kyle.
I approve it. I mean, I'm good. He can sign. Look, at this point, you can at this point you can shoot heroin up on the football field if you can make a tackle. I don't give a damn.
Justin
I
said
mean, it's past the point of caring. It's past the point of caring about kids and all that. They're. I mean, I love all Pirates, so don't take that wrong. But this whole, it's like Logan said, and again, I'm quoting Logan, and I don't want to. I'm not sitting here promoting the Logan zone, but like he said, these coaches now really don't have to worry about what the kids do downtown anymore. He said they're getting paid. He said, he saw an interview with what's Oklahoma State's head coach's name?
Mike
Gundy. Yes, thank you. So he said he saw an interview with Gundy, and he had some starter suspended, and he asked what he was going to do about it. And Gundy said, "I'm not going to do anything about it." He said he's going to play, and he said he'll handle his legal issues with his attorney and his agent. He said, but he's playing on Saturday.
There you go. I mean, you're exactly right. If the NCAA doesn't care about anything, then why should we care? I mean, I know
we should.
It's a whole different mindset at this point, guys.
Yeah. So you guys I did have a question for you guys before we move on, and I know we're going to talk a little bit of basketball, but anyway, I got to get your thoughts. I am really excited about, I'm not the only one on the new playoff with college football, the CFP. It's so much more exciting and down to the Final Four. I just want to get your thoughts on that. Don't expect a lot from that.
I love that a group of five school gets a legitimate shot. I do love that. Boise didn't get it done, but they played well. So I love it from that aspect. What we need to do is make sure it doesn't lessen bowls any more than it already has. I can fix bowl games with two easy steps. So you tell me what y'all think. One, the transfer portal cannot be open until you play. You don't have to wait until after all bowl games are played, but you have to play your bowl game before you enter the transfer portal.
Definitely.
Okay. So that needs to be a rule. Second rule, and this is more incentive to play the bowl game. Well, what are we doing starting in this fiscal year? What are we starting? Revenue sharing. What do schools get when they go to bowl games? Money. So pretty simple. If you play in that bowl game, you get a paycheck. If the payout is $3 million for that bowl to the conference, and East Carolina is going to get for participating in that bowl $1.5 million of that $3 million, then you take a couple $100,000 and you split it up amongst the players, and you get that paycheck if you play in the bowl. If you don't, you don't get the paycheck. That's another really good way to make sure these kids play in these bowl games.
Hey, Stevie,
your thoughts on that, guys?
Yeah, I like it.
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, me and you have talked about that before, Kyle.
Well, I'm talking about the revenue part, about the with revenue sharing, with the bowl distribution money going to players, not just the portal part. But I mean, that to me, that would be good incentive to get these kids to play.
Yeah, you can't. You shouldn't get paid if you're not playing in that bowl game. I mean,
well, right.
Your NIL money should stop.
No, I'm not talking about NIL money. What I'm saying is, with revenue sharing coming,
yeah,
okay, schools get paychecks for these bowls. The payout for the military bowl is $2.5 million. So you can share now part of that revenue with the players, is what I'm saying, directly.
Right.
So you don't get that. You don't get any money from that bowl game as a player unless you participate.
Yeah, I got you. I agree totally. I mean, if you're not playing there, I mean, there's no such thing as loyalty to your team anymore either. I mean, it's becoming so much. It's about me, and it's about money. But and guys, don't get me wrong. I never played above the high school level, and I know a lot of guys that I coached, and some that I I watched play that went to the next level. That was like it's more of a business than it was in high school. I didn't enjoy it, but I can't imagine looking the guys that I went to war with every week for all that regular season, telling them, "Hey, guess what, guys? I know I'm okay. I'm not hurt or anything. I'm not playing with y'all this week. Y'all on your own because I'm being, I don't want to get hurt." How did the guys back in the 80s and the 90s do it? Still get drafted, not get hurt, played in all the bowl games. How did they do it?
It's just become a thing in the last 5 years, and we were talking about guys entering the portal, but you're right. Some guys just opt out, because like Winston Wright Jr., who it's not even projected to be drafted; he's projected to be a free agent signee, and chose not to play in a bowl. And I like Winston Wright, and he contributed this year, but I know he was banged up towards the end of the year, but if he was healthy, I think he got poor advice not participating in that bowl game because I think it would have only helped his stock had he showed out. Had he made some big plays in that bowl, he's not projected to be drafted anyway. I mean, it could have changed him to a late draft player, or it could have certainly put him on more teams' targets as a free agent signee. But yeah, the portal issue, moving the portal date fixes that. But I think now with revenue sharing again, that bowl revenue, you share that, you distribute that to your players, and I think that's going to get a lot of players to play.
And Stevie, you bring up a great point about there's no guarantee that if you opt out that you're going to be healthy when you play, and you can say all that, but back in the day, it made more sense back in the day. Stevie, you can help me on this, being an NFL guy like me. Back in the day, with those rookie contracts that were outrageous, I could kind of see why they would want to do it. But now you don't get the kind of money that you used to because you could be a bust. So for me personally, I'm like Kyle. I'd rather play the game. And, if you get hurt, you get hurt. I mean, that's part of I hate to say that, it sounds like a cop out, but that's part of the sport. And, just like I could walk across the street and get hit. I mean, there's all kinds of things that can happen. So I just, I don't like the whole thing. And I'll tell you another thing, guys, I want to get your opinion on this. Kyle and Stevie, when Kyle and I went, like a lot of us went to the Military Bowl, imagine if a lot of our guys had opted out when we paid a lot of money for the bowl game. We paid a lot of money for the tickets. We paid a lot of money for the hotel, food, etc., gas, you name it. Now, a sidebar with Stevie, with the NBA, he knows where I'm going with this. There's a lot of guys like LeBron James who are just like missing a lot of games because there's no real rule in the NBA.
Workload.
And so for me personally, I think it's the same thing. If you play, I think they should be forced to play the game. And the reason being is that in other words, I know, Kyle, you talked about this, about contracts. Well, I say this, contract means 2 to 3 years, at least 2 years that you're with us. And that includes playing the bowl game. And if you don't want to do that, if you want to potentially opt out, then you don't get a contract.
I think contracts need to come in 2 years, and if you violate your contract, you have to pay some money back. But again, I keep going back to this, and I'm going to keep beating this dead horse. Again, I'm going to go back to revenue sharing, and I think it's a simple thing. I think when you say bowl revenue is going to be dispersed amongst players, that'll be enough motivation to keep kids to want to play in these bowl games. But then Steve, I'll pitch it to you. Let's give a great example. The best thing to do is just give examples that just happened. Raji is not a guy that I've seen projected to be drafted, but as a free agent signee most likely. But do you guys think he hurt his NFL stock at all by that bowl performance?
He boosted it.
Exactly.
Exactly. That's the thing. You go to these games, these bowl games, you're in a national spotlight. Because for a lot of college football fans, a lot of football fans, and a lot of guys watch these games that wouldn't be watching your games usually. So you got a chance to boost your resume and boost your draft status. I mean, you've seen guys jump up 2 rounds. Okay, what about the Scatterbo? And I'm sure I'm saying his name wrong. The Scatterbo kid from Arizona State. After that game against Texas, every NFL team was not every NFL team, but every NFL fan base was talking about we need that guy on our team. And even seeing some of the NFL scouts say you can say what you want to about his size, you can say what you want to about where he played ball at, but one thing about it, you cannot bring that guy down, and that's what we're looking for.
Yeah,
So,
Chris Johnson's a great example of that.
Exactly, the Boise State game.
Yes, a kid that was, a second round projected pick, and then became a first rounder after that bowl game in his NFL Combine performance.
Yeah.
Before we get off the playoffs, I just want to say this about all the SEC fans and especially the Alabama fans that say they got it wrong. Alabama should have been in the playoffs. Well, Michigan took care of that. They put that to rest really quick.
4-loss season. Alabama back to reality. 4 losses.
I don't think that they would have done any better in this playoff than any other team has right now. I mean, you had the number 1 team ranked get mauled by Ohio State, but still, SEC has not performed well in this playoff. So I'm tired of the old SEC is it, and that's all. But how many SEC teams are left? 1, and they were what, a big
Big 12 team. Yeah,
they were a Big 12 team last year.
Yeah,
so the SEC commissioner has come out and said he wants the format changed next year to the playoff, not in terms of the automatic bids. You still wants your 5 highest conference champions to get in automatically. So the group of 5 will not be excluded, but he thinks the seeding process does not need to be conference champions automatically. Of course he does. Yeah, he wants to change.
Of course he's going to say that.
Yeah. So, but here's the thing. Here's what I want to have happen. Let the SEC and the Big Ten just go form their own thing. Let those 2 leagues go form their own thing, and then all the rest of us will just play NCAA football. And then when the SEC and the Big Ten loses about 80% of their audience, they're going to go, oh, shit, what do we do?
Yeah, well, they're not going. I think deep down that's just the ultimate threat because they like to get their way. Because
call them out. Call them out on their threat. Quit being these chancellors, these presidents, these conference commissioners, and these ADs, et cetera, of all these schools and all these other conferences that aren't the SEC and the Big Ten need to quit being a bunch of little kitty cats and be some damn grown men, grow some balls. It's like, you want to leave, go. You're losing 80% of your audience.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Another thing is they need to add to 16 teams, like I've said all along. And here's another thing, guys.
I'm happy at 12. Honestly, I'm happy at 12.
I like 12 right now.
We get a seat at the table, meaning the so-called group of 5. And to me, if you go to 16, you're diminishing bowls even more. I'm going back to revenue sharing. I'm going to keep beating this horse till people say shut up about it. But I really believe with revenue sharing becoming a thing, and you can now take that bowl revenue and disperse it amongst your players, that's going to really change bowl games to being important again. Kids are not going to want to miss getting that payday for going to that bowl, because now instead of just getting bowl swag, you get a check for a couple grand. Or theoretically, I mean, that's what I'm assuming they'll do. If they don't, then they're stupid.
Hey, Dave.
Yeah.
How about putting Robert Matthews' comment up, the last one up?
It's your boyfriend, Robert Matthews.
Yeah, my boyfriend. The SEC teams cannot hoard all these players now because of NIL. Players don't want to sit the bench; they want to play. Well, you know what? I've said this for years. They talk about all these guys sitting behind.
Now they're going to hoard them in junior college.
Sitting behind these guys up there and hoarding the players. My thing is, if I'm a freaking athlete, or like a 4 or 5 star athlete, I want to go somewhere where I'm going to play. I mean, I don't want to sit the bench behind 2 quarterbacks at Georgia or Alabama. I want to go somewhere where I can play. I don't want to sit the bench just because I'm playing for Alabama. And I know people say, well, any given minute you could be in there, and you're automatically considered for the NFL draft if you go there. Not if you don't get on the field. I want to get on the field. I don't want to sit the bench.
No, you're not going to get drafted if you don't get on the field.
Exactly.
But, yeah.
I just see that. I've always said, as far as these guys sitting behind and they're hoarding the players, I know exactly what you're talking about, Robert. But go somewhere where you can play. And who cares if you're playing at Alabama? Just
You're not
because
playing in Alabama if you're not playing.
you're sitting the bench, you're carrying a freaking clipboard. You're not playing.
Well, I'll tell you one thing too
Agreed.
is Alabama is down, and I don't see them coming back anytime soon. And I'll tell you why, because everybody
They don't have the NIL money that Texas has.
Well, here's the thing. Yeah, and it's more of a level playing field. And I'll tell you what, that's exactly why. That's why Nick Saban is on College Game Day now. I don't blame the guy. The guy has nothing to prove. I'm not negative Nelly on him. But I think that what it comes down to is he had the edge, and he doesn't have the edge anymore. And now Alabama is, because of NIL, because of the transfer portal, all this stuff. That's Kyle made a great point a few years ago when we first started talking about this, July of 21. It is actually, in my estimation, it has actually helped us, so-called Group of Five, and it's actually hurt, I believe, the so-called Power Four now, because just like you guys talked about.
Yeah, I don't know about that, Dave. I think had NIL, the collectives, not gotten out of control, I think it would have been more of a help to us than hurt to us. But the way these collectives are now, as soon as we get a player that's good, now he's gone. So I don't know that that's necessarily true that it's helped us. I do think it gets us some guys to replace those guys with pretty easy. But if they would put a cap on this NIL thing, then yeah, I would agree with you, because of what we're talking about, a guy that's riding the bench at Bama or Georgia, or like that receiver from Oklahoma that just came this way.
Yeah.
But what his goal is now is to come here and show out and then go get some NIL money from another Power 5 school. That's how these things work. So until we get this financial situation and check a little, and I do think that's coming with revenue sharing. Did I mention revenue sharing? I do think that's
I
coming.
tell you what, new drinking game. Every time Kyle says revenue sharing, you have to take a drink.
Everybody is going to be drunk.
I'm glad
Everybody's
that
blasted.
I'm glad.
Hey, look, let me tell you something. I mean, not to toot my own horn, but toot, baby. When NIL became a thing, I said here on this podcast, and Bubba and Matt and Dave, Matt might not have been here yet, but Dave and Bubba disagreed with me at the time. I said immediately, stop the building nonsense bullshit and put all your money into NIL. I said, because that's all that's going to matter going forward. And I was told, well, blah, 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 blah. And guess who was right as we sit here 3 years later?
Blue by blue.
That's what they said. That's what might as well have been said.
My point is that on that is that I agree. I told you back then that I had a few days where I was like a little kid, and I pouted back in July of 21 that first week. And then I started asking the question. The question came up, do you want to win?
Yeah.
That's what
I
was on the bandwagon early. All I said was all I was talking about with my issue with, here's the deal. My issue with the indoor practice facility, we all know we should have had 8 or 10 years ago. So we're playing catch up.
Yeah.
My point is, once we get that built and what Cliff wants with baseball, with the expansion, then 100% what we need to do is to give. And here's another thing too. I have friends that are dear to me, that are close friends, that they just can't get over the idea of paying players. I had another friend today.
Well, and Matt doesn't like it, and I understand that, because he played. And Matt looks at it from a different perspective. He busted his ass playing at this level and didn't get a dime, at least legally. And I'm not implying that he told me he got to be paid. Matt has not told me anybody paid him.
NCAA will be investigating Matt Semenza.
I'm just saying.
It was a grocery store parking lot, Steve. He got this big suitcase.
But I had my suitcase. And somebody just got that, died laughing. Somebody, and then other people don't get it. Stevie got it. He's laughing. But anyway, the point being, where was I going with this? The point being, with NIL, this is how I look at it. So you're giving money to the university to build a building. or you're building a practice facility.
Correct.
And some people will look at that as, well, that's something long term. Well, either way, you're giving the university money for not a damn thing you're getting. You're not getting that building. You're not getting that indoor practice facility. What are you building it for? In the hopes of winning. So that's how I look at it when I'm giving money to NIL. I look at it exactly the same as building a facility or donating to build an indoor practice facility or donating to upgrade the weight room. I look at it all the same. I don't get to go use that weight room. No jokes, people. But so to me, it's the same damn thing. When I'm giving money to Team Boneyard to help players, to help us get players, it's all about winning. What does Semenza say?
I know a guy down at the Piers at Jersey, Kyle. We worked out in that deal.
Nice. Joey Bag of Donuts.
We love Jersey Shore. Yeah, you're right, Kyle. 100%. I changed my tune quickly because I want East Carolina to be relevant. And let me tell you something else. We need to have an ambitious goal. Now, let me say this. Ohio State, guys, you know this. Ohio State's NIL money, their budget, $20 million. Now, am I saying that we can compete with that? Absolutely not. And let me make that very clear. But, you know, the guys at Team Boneyard, Hank Hinton and company, they have done a tremendous job. And I'm fighting like crazy for them because they are like us when we do the podcast. We're not getting paid to sit here and do this. This is a labor of love. The same thing for them. They don't want to be paying players, right? But they know they start the collective because they know that's the way that we get the job done. And we need to have like a $5 million goal because guess what? If we want to be, here's the way that I look at it, and I'll pass it back to you guys. What I'm going to make is if we don't have an ambitious goal, then how do we ever have a seat at the table when it comes to the magical, year that we have where we are the Group of 5 representative and the 12-team playoff, right?
Yeah, I'd like to know what Boise's NIL budget is. We need to have whatever their NIL budget is. I'll say this one. Again, I'll go back to your revenue share. We're projected to be third. We're projected to be third.
Take a shot, everyone.
We're projected to be third in the American with revenue sharing at around $3 million. So you add that with our collective, which is about $1 million, $1.5 million, and we're approaching that $5 million budget.
I think it's $7 million.
So I really believe that word that I'll quit saying because I've said it a million times is going to be nothing but a positive for East Carolina. I think because we sell tickets, because we sell merchandise, because we have a passionate fan base, unlike a lot of other Group of 5 schools, I really believe that word that I've said too many times is going to be a huge positive for us.
What was that word again?
No, it's called revenue sharing.
Oh, there you go. Take another shot.
The thing that bothers me about the NIL thing, and we have to have realistic goals, right? But when you've got like early in college football season, Phil Knight, who was an Oregon graduate and is the head of Nike, made the comment that as long as he was living, Oregon would have unlimited NIL funds. And now I think this past weekend, as far as Michigan State basketball, Magic Johnson said, he would make sure they had unlimited NIL funds. So you gotta make a freaking cap or something. You got to cap it.
I'll tell you what. I'll give you an example of what y'all are talking about, Stevie. And I'm sure it's not unlimited, but suddenly Southern Miss has 27 guys they signed out of the portal, including 2 starting offensive linemen from Eastern Michigan. They suddenly have hired Marshall's head coach to be their head coach. They hired Blake Anderson to be their offensive coordinator, and then they just hired Eastern Michigan's OC to be their offensive line coach. My guess is Mr. Brett Favre has decided he wanted to invest some money in. Well, no, I'm
Where
being
did you
serious.
get that money from?
No, well, that's what I'm about to say. I bet you Mr. Brett Favre has decided he wants to invest into Southern Miss athletics this time the right way to make up for some past transgressions.
Probably so.
Yeah, so because they're getting that money from somewhere all of a sudden to suddenly hire an all-star staff and get 27 freaking guys out of the portal. They just didn't shit that money overnight. So somebody's ponying up all of a sudden. And, rich alumni from Southern Miss, Brett Favre. The other one that comes to mind would be Jimmy Buffett, and he's dead.
So Sandy has a question. Here you go, Sandy. We'll ask it now. How much did we get from the bowl win, and where does the money go? There you go.
So it was between 2.5 and 3 million. The money goes to the conference, and then all the conference money, all the bowl money goes straight to the conference, and then the conference distributes the money to the schools. So that's how that works. And so I think the payout is around 2.5 million for the military bowl. So that money will go to the conference along with all the rest of the bowl money, and then will be distributed to all the schools. And if you played in a bowl, you get a large percentage of the money. I'm 99% sure that's how that works. So again, that's what I was talking about earlier, Sandy, with
And
this bowl. As we get into revenue sharing, you play in a bowl game, there should be no reason why the players now shouldn't get some of that money. So that should help with keeping players wanting to play in bowl games going forward. Was the point I kept making over and over.
well, by the way, James is calling you out. He says he's the reason that they're getting all the players because he said that he's actually rich. So
Wow, James, I did not know that, James. All this time, I thought you were a middle school history teacher. It turns out
he's low key.
it turns out I'm trying to think of that thing Cornette says, Stevie. It turns, damn it, what does he say about people being rich? I can't think of it. It would have been funny if I could have thought of it, but I can't think of it.
I can't think of it either.
But anyway, so it turns out James is whatever that thing is Cornette says, not a history teacher. He's been loaded all this time. Well, James, how about send me some money, brother?
Yeah, how about this? One of our great producers behind the scenes, I guess, texted me the University of Oregon's NIL budget. Get this, guys, $23 million. And
A lot of money.
Film Night has given over $1 billion with a B, $1 billion to the university, including personal funds for the athletic department and donations of.
Yeah, well, somebody get Mr. Beast on the phone, or either tell Vince McMahon, hey, you know all that rapey stuff you that got talked about you. You know what would sound better than that? That you gave a bunch of money to your alma mater.
Exactly.
That'll help make some of that rapey stuff go away a little bit.
Like Sandra Bullock. Wasn't Sandra Bullock at ECU?
She never graduated. And I seriously doubt she gives a damn about athletics. But yes, Sandra Bullock did attend East Carolina, and it's from Virginia, your home state, Stevie.
Yeah, Northern Virginia. Hey, Stevie, how about this? Well, all three of us are wrestling fans. That's right. How about Vince McMahon having a WrestleMania at Dowdy Ficklin and giving that money?
Well, Vince McMahon ain't going to have anything anymore at Dowdy Ficklin. He doesn't run anything anymore, but he can. He is a billionaire with a B, and he certainly could give some of that money to ECU athletics, and it would be good press for him. He needs all the good press he can get. I seriously would reach out to him and say, look, Vin Mac, why don't you cut a check for a few million for our NIL budget, and we'll spin you in a positive light because you need all the positive publicity you can get right now.
He's a billionaire. What does he have to lose to pay a whole bunch of money for NIL? And how about the NIL going to? Don't we have? They're doing a lot of NIL deals now with WWE, right? With football players.
They are. Yeah, there's
yeah. They've been doing them.
Yeah.
There's WWE student athlete. Yeah, WWE student athletes. That's right.
I did want to respond to Robert's comment earlier about Leroy Jenkins. I have not seen anything about Leroy Jenkins. If you could get me some video on him, I'd like to see some video on him.
Who is Leroy Jenkins?
Some big prospect with tackle.
Robert, did Stevie tell you anything about a player that he's been talking to me about a lot called Mike Hunt? He's apparently a hell of a player.
Yeah, he's a tight end.
He is a tight. Very good, Dave. Very good. But that's MikeHunt, Mike Hunt. Stevie's been talking about him a lot, and he is a tight end. He's an excellent player.
How about this, Christian Bateman? We know he played against Mr. Beast in school at Greenville Christian Academy. He played against.
You ought to have Christian. You ought to get in touch with him.
Christian, yeah, Bateman, come on. I'm gonna get in touch with Mr. Beast and get him to give some damn money to our NIL.
Yeah,
come on, Christian. As much as you love Pirate basketball, I mean, just tell Mr. Beast. Look, imagine this: Mr. Beast takes East Carolina, the worst basketball program historically in the history of the world, to the Final Four.
Oh my God, can you imagine that? I'll tell you one thing right now. That's one thing I thought about today, and we'll transition to basketball in just a second. But I was thinking about Kyle. I enjoyed Kyle and Jessica, his wife, came to the game with me today. And Stevie, you got to come to a game with me, brother, whenever you get a chance. Because Kyle, let me first of all,
Steve, I'll say this: I'm not a huge basketball fan, and the seats are always uncomfortable at Minji's. But hats off to the upgraded seats there.
Yeah.
If you're a fat ass, you actually got some room to move your fat ass. There was a drink holder. Actually, this is just coincidental personally for me because of my vision. My seat was directly in line with the video board, which you guys know for football, and the same with basketball. That is my preference for watching the game. I like taking my binoculars and watching the video board. Although when they were at our end of the court, then I had no problem watching it down there. But so Dave's got great seats for basketball. I don't know who he had to. Dave's got really good seats for basketball. I'll say that. Very comfortable seats and great view. So yeah, Stevie, if you want to watch some Pirate basketball, Dave's got 4 seats, and I would suggest going sometime. Even if we are horrible, you'll still enjoy the game. I enjoyed the day, and it was a good game. Every opportunity to win it at the end against Florida Atlantic. You miss a shot, you get 2 rebounds, 2 missed threes.
Yeah, we had everything.
You could have made the argument, why weren't we going inside to try to tie it there? Because you could have got fouled also.
We did.
No, I mean at the very end.
Yeah, we had 2 threes, and I know RJ.
Yeah, I know. What I'm saying is why we didn't go inside there. We could have played for the tie.
Yeah.
And you also had a chance to get fouled, and which also played for the tie. But we played for the win, which I get. You probably weren't going to beat Florida Atlantic in overtime. Then again, you never know. So we're at home, but multiple opportunities to win that game. And hell, just earlier in the game, if we'd have just made our friggin' free throws, if we'd have just hit a couple more, we got it. Get better at shooting free throws.
By the way,
unbelievable the amount of free throws we missed, and could have been a nice win over Florida Atlantic 7-7, but they played a very difficult schedule.
Hey, Kyle. Hey, Stevie, Kyle. Guess what our free throw percentage was today?
About 50%.
It was 56% when I shared it with Kyle. It got down to 52%. Okay.
That's horrible.
And just like for the fact that if we make those free throws, like Kyle said, if you shoot, in fact,
60%, we win the game.
Yeah.
How many did they miss? I mean,
a lot of back-to-back. Like, in other words,
0 for 2 at the line, a lot.
That's what anytime a team loses a close game, I always like to go back and look at the free throws, because you think about that, they're free. That's what
They're free and they're throws.
I'll tell you a funny
That's a good
story.
analyst, Stevie.
Yeah, they're free and they're throws. But when I was in school playing, we had a guy. Actually, gosh, what's his name? He was a baseball coach at ECU for a while.
Billy Godwin.
Billy Godwin was coach at Infield Academy, and we were playing them against them one night, and then he got 3 technicals in a row, got kicked out of the game, and they divided the 6 free throws up between myself and another guy, and he missed 3 and I missed 3. We missed all 6 of them, and we hung on to win. But yeah, that was not fun. That was, I sit there and talk about they're free, but there's a lot of pressure on you sometimes. But these guys are college guys. This was like my 9th grade year, so they should be hitting those free throws like that.
You got a chance. You got a chance to beat Florida Atlantic, who over the recent years has become a bit of a name in college basketball, and you have them on the ropes in your house, and you don't get it done. And their record is, I think it's 8-7 now, but they played a very difficult schedule. Shame we didn't get it done today. But I did enjoy it. I don't go to a lot of basketball games. This is actually, and some of you guys are going to be shocked to hear this, as big of a pirate I am. I go to every football game and go to a lot of baseball games, but this is my first basketball game since 2013, 2014 that I went to a
Hey,
person.
would you go back now that you know?
Yeah, but based on where your seats are, my direct line of sight with the scoreboard, which is important to me, the video board for watching with my binoculars, and then when we're at your end of the court or your end of the court, the end of the court where your seats are, it's from my perspective of seeing is fine. And again, having that end seat, being a big guy, is important to me. The bigger seats there where you are. I don't. When did they add those seats down there and expand the seat size?
Last year it was $1
Yeah,
million.
it's a huge improvement. Huge
Yeah.
improvement. And so yeah, oh, no, I'll definitely go back. Yeah, there's no question. I'll I'm not sure the next game I'll go to. Yeah, but that will not be my only game this year for sure.
And Stevie, we need to all get together and go to a game. That would be fun. Well, all of us be able to do
Let me
that.
know.
All right, we definitely will, because that's the one thing is I want as many Pirate fans as we could get in there, because man, I would say there was I don't know the official attendance. Kyle, what would you think, about 2,000 to 3,000 today?
It's hard to say. Minji's holds what 7,000. Is it still 8? I thought the attendance went down when they added the seats, the bigger seats. Yeah, 3,000 is what I'd say. Students weren't there. I thought the crowd was lively. I thought it was everybody was into the game the whole time. Everybody was in good spirits after the bowl win. But need a little bit more of a electric atmosphere in there. I think the students could have made a difference today had they been there.
Our buddy JR, great to see you today, JR. The Pirates continue to dominate the offensive glass. They had 25 today offensive rebounds.
Yeah, that is the one positive from today.
Of course, they do have more opportunities. Here's the thing. Here's the thing, guys. It comes down to as simple as it may sound. It's not easy. We just have to make shots. That's the key. Make shots with the free throws. Our three-point shooting has been horrendous, and I love and I had a couple people ask me at work, and one of the people we know is Mike Schwartz on the hot seat. I said no, because he'll get at least one more year. It's not Mike Schwartz that's the problem. The problem is he can't go out there and make those shots. So that's for me personally. I know he's the guy that brought those guys in, but those guys have got to step up and make those shots, or if not, you can't win. I mean, how do you win without making shots? So anyway, so for me, guys, so I really believe with our program with basketball. I said 14 wins. Do I sound off by saying that? I said that in the preseason, way in the summertime. Do you guys think I'm crazy for saying 14 wins?
I think probably that's about right.
I mean, let me when you look at it, Stevie, I know you're more of a football guy, but what did you think about overall about basketball? We're 8-7 right now, by the way.
Well, haven't they lost 6 out of the last 7?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's kind of a bummer there, but just judging from what you guys say, it sounds like, and I know a lot of the games have been close, but if they can do the little small things like free throws, maybe they can turn around. I don't think 14 is way off. I don't think that's off at all.
So we have 6 more. You've got a handful of games left of the season, so we have to win 6 more. So anyway, I just like I said, everybody wants to dump on Schwartz or when they, and I don't mean that like the fan base is doing that. I'm just saying in general speaking, like it's always the coach's fault. Well, when Dooley got fired the second time, he made a great point on Pirate Radio. We fire a coach every 4.3 years. So in my fandom at East Carolina, I think Kyle and Stevie, we've had 3 winning seasons in my lifetime as far as being a Pirate fan since 1986. So here's a question for you guys I had. What if we went out? This is absurd. I know this is absurd, but would you guys be willing to ask the big donors to say, hey, what if we get like $5 million just for basketball and get like the basketball team of our dreams? I know you were talking about the Final Four earlier, Kyle, but I was thinking about that when we were in the second half of the basketball game. What if we could get like 2, 3, 4 guys. I mean, like amazing 5-star guys in here and make a nice run. Would you guys be willing to do that?
I'm not giving them $5 million.
I know, not you. I'm just talking about, would you be in favor of that, knowing that?
No, give it to football. Just being honest, we're going to spend $5
Football.
million spending on football. But we got $500,000 on the court right now, and it looks like we got $5.50 on the court. So we need some return on this investment. I mean that I don't know why we don't have more size than we do. But no, I would not be in favor of that. Just being honest with you, football's first here. I do want to see basketball succeed. I'd like to get our NIL budget up to around $1 million in basketball. But I think some of that's coaching, or not so much coaching as it is. How do you not more intentionally go after size? It just doesn't make any sense to me. We have no size.
All right. In fact, Les Brooks says they wasted $500,000 this year on NIL. And I talked to someone with, I won't say their name, but I talked to someone with NIL as far as the basketball is concerned. And that was the point, Les, they were making is like, how do we know? The question was to me, how do we know that these players are as good as people are saying they are, right? And so Frank Durham,
I got a question. This is off topic, but everybody out there, JR, anybody else who went to the basketball game today, what the hell size is this picture? It will not fit an 8x10 frame.
I was going to tell you, not interrupt. I was going to tell you, Kyle. There's such a thing like an 8 by like 11 or 12. Because when we had the guy that took pictures of our state championship year, I was asking him about it because one of the pictures came a little bit different. He measured
it like 8.5 by 11.5, so it could be an 8.
Look on Amazon. You can find them up there. That's the only place I've really been able to find them is on Amazon.
She said it may be like a certificate frame. I don't.
Well, yeah, but I don't. I think even the certificate frames are too small for me.
Okay, well, if somebody knows exactly what this picture size is or where I can find a frame for it exactly, please send me a link. And I imagine there's going to be other pirates looking for this too, because it is not an 8x10. It's a little bigger than that, and which is annoying. I wish they'd have just did a straight 8x10. But worst case scenario, I'll take it Michaels and get it framed and matted.
Yeah, Stephanie is going after us. I'm not saying that I'm making excuses for Schwartz. I'm just simply saying he's not on. I was asked, is he on the hot seat this year, Stephanie? So to break it down for you, and those.
What did Stephanie say?
Here you go. Dave Sparris, a buck stops for the head coach. Look at Houston. He didn't win. He got fired. This coach won't be here much longer. The deal is that for basketball, my point is, number one, they're going to get 4 years. And this is John Gilbert and Ryan Robinson, who I like both of them. This is their guy. He's a Tennessee guy. They're going to give him – they're not going to say after year 3, you're gone. They
might not have a choice.
But anyway, I agree with as far as accountability. We're not saying that like that. But at the same time, he's doing a good job as far as getting them in the right position. But today they couldn't make the shots, right? I mean – we had a chance to win that game. Look at the free throws. 3-point percentage has been awful. I mean, I'm not like taking up for them for that, but at the same time,
no, you've been critical of Schwartz. I mean, I don't anybody who thinks that you're big, you don't dislike Mike Schwartz as a person, but you were very, very against firing Dooley. So no, Dave is not he's not a Schwartz rah-rah guy, so I think y'all are taking it wrong there. And I'm defending Dave, so that says something.
We get along very. That's what's so funny about Kyle and I are kind of like, and I'll just use this, so don't think I'm going into politics, Kyle. Kyle and I are like the old days of politics where we're from 2 different parties and we fight on the floor of the Senate, for example. And then afterwards that night we're out drinking at the tavern. I mean, that's Kyle and I. And both of us want the Pirates to win. So we may come across on the air like we hate each other. I don't hate him one ounce. So
no, not at all. I mean, we fight like brothers, and I think you and I are very different people, and yet we get along. And I think that's probably why caused us to fight a lot. But in this situation, Dave is not a Mike Schwartz apologist. I'll just leave it there.
Yeah, but anyway, I think that's a troll anyway. But trolls, the great thing about trolls, it means that you're doing something right because they're people that are the people are coming. Maybe they don't like you or whatever reason. But anyway, I digress. I did want to say, let me get before we talk a little bit more about basketball. Final Four. Who's going to be in the finals for the CFP? Who you got?
They're already in the Final Four.
Who plays in the next round? That shows you how much.
Ohio State, Texas is Friday night. Thursday night is Penn State and Notre Dame.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go all Big Ten final. I'm gonna go Penn State, Ohio State.
That's what I tell you what, guys.
Although Notre Dame is playing really well right now.
Yeah,
Notre Dame's playing pretty good. I think that's gonna be a tight game. That Ohio State game is probably. My freaking brother is going to hate me for that. I think Ohio State's probably going to really run over Texas. But then Notre Dame, Penn State.
His brother's a Texas fan. You're wondering why his brother's going to kill him.
Yeah, but Notre Dame, Penn State. That's. I'm going. I guess I go with Penn State on that, but that could go either way. I think Notre Dame, like I said, they're on a high right now after beating Georgia, which Georgia did have their backup quarterback, but still, you talk about the SEC, like everybody always says, the backup quarterbacks will start anywhere else. So
I'm going. I agree with you guys. I tell you, the surprise team for me has been Notre Dame. I will be the first to tell you guys I didn't see them anywhere close to the Final Four. So I'm a man of I admit when I'm wrong. I was definitely wrong about that. I'm going. I agree with Kyle. Hey, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I really like Ohio State and Notre Dame. I really do in the final, and I think Ohio State is by far the best team right now. They're whether they were at the beginning of the year or not, it doesn't matter. They're getting hot right now. What they did, I'll tell you one thing. Ryan Day, I felt bad for. I felt bad because Ohio State was I didn't see that game being a blowout like it was. And I think they were mad for the fact of the way they played against Michigan. I know that for a fact. And so they took it out on them. But yeah, I think that's going to be the final. And I think Ohio State wins the national championship. And that's where my daughter wants to go to college. So at 10 years old, I'm sure she'll change it between now and then. But Mackenzie wants to go to Ohio State. Even though she loves her Pirates, so we'll see. But that's a long ride, right, Stevie? It's only 35.
A little bit of a ride there, Dave. I think you might want to talk to her a little bit.
Yeah, I don't get the Ohio State fascination from Mackenzie, but I think she'll come around. Experience more nights like the Military Bowl. She'll want to be a Pirate.
Yeah, I agree with you 1,000%, and. And that's the thing. She loves the Pirates just like Alex does. So we shall see. But we've still got a long time. Hopefully they're legacy recruits for both of them. That will be awesome for sure. And Stevie, as far as overall with I got to get your feeling too, by the way, Stevie. I feel like I'm not alone here because you're an NFL guy. What's your thoughts on the playoffs with the NFL? And then we'll get back to college, guys.
I'm actually, as we speak, watching this Detroit-Minnesota game, and this is a pretty good game so far. That's going to decide the seeding I think the number one seed in the NFC. But as far as playoffs go, my boys are backing into the playoffs. The Steelers losing 4 in a row and having to play Baltimore again, that's not something you look forward to, although we have had Baltimore's number. Right now, I mean, the Chiefs are number one seed, but I'll tell you this.
They're not.
I think Buffalo is a team to beat in the AFC.
You're correct. Josh Allen is one of the best quarterbacks out there. And do you think he gets MVP?
Yeah, I think so.
My vote will be is Josh Allen. But
everybody wants to see Lamar get it, but I think Josh Allen, and I think I'll tell you this, Dave. If Cincinnati had made the playoffs, see the dogs agree with me too. Cincinnati had made the playoffs, you'd have to throw Joe Burrow's name in that MVP mix. The way he's playing all year, and that's a shame. And they're AFC North teams. Of course, I can't like them, but the numbers they put up, Burrow and Chase and Higgins put up all year. It's a shame they're not going to get a chance in the playoffs. But yeah, that just shows you how terrible Cincinnati's defense was. But on the NFC side, man, like I said, right now Minnesota and Detroit are in a lockdown right now. Detroit's up 7-3. But I'm just waiting for Sam Darnold to come down because for him to have the year he's had so far, and he hasn't had anything close to this anywhere else. And he's he's missed a couple of touchdowns so far tonight that he should have hit, but that's a toss-up there. I'll tell you another one team, and Dave's not going to like to hear this because his team's matched up with them. Tampa Bay is playing really good football right now. And Washington plays them next week.
Is that definitely playing?
Yeah, that's the matchup now. The only thing that's up in the air is whether number one, and I think this is how crazy it is. One of these teams could fall to number 5 from number 1 to number. You can either get number 1 or number 5. Whoever loses is number 5.
Crazy. They are both 14-2, Kyle, going the last game, Minnesota and Detroit. And so one of them is going to win the division, and then one's going to be a wild card. And like you said, if can you imagine if the Lions go to number 5? That would be horrible. But
yeah, but the one thing that the first half of the year, up until about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I had Detroit in the NFC, but with so many injuries on defense, they've been really, really hampered by that. And I did see they had a couple of guys come back tonight, but I just don't know. The Eagles are playing good ball. NFC's like a toss-up. It could be one of 4 teams there for me right now.
Yeah, well, I have to say that Stephanie's going after me. Well, anyway, so I think Stephanie is a troll. But anyway,
what's she saying?
About who I voted.
I'll just go in the chat. You guys keep
Just
talking
look at
NFL.
It's not
I was going with NFL. I just wanted to, but the Redskins beat the Cowboys today, 12-5. And get this, guys, give me my glory, because this is the first time ever, not ever, but since 1991 that the Redskins have won 12 games in the regular season. How about that? Since 91, we won 14 games. So. You know what? If we lose in the first round, we lose. But I love.
Well, you got something to build off of, Dave. That quarterback, Jay Daniels, is something to build off of. You actually coming from the situation you guys were in 2 years ago.
Yep.
Daniel Snyder there, and the way that whole team was going, that whole organization was going. This is a step up because you actually have players in free agency they're saying they want to go to Washington. You got a good coach. You got a good atmosphere there now. So I would, even if you did lose in the first round, which I know you don't want to, it's a step in the right direction.
Oh yeah, I mean, we backed into the playoffs in 2020. In fact, we played Tampa Bay 4 years ago with Taylor Heineke. Remember him? ODU.
Alert! Enough NFL chat. Alert!
Oh no. And look, as much as I've heard revenue sharing said tonight, you're going to get some freaking NFL talk.
This is an East Carolina podcast, baby. This ain't an NFL podcast.
Well, but people do follow the NFL. And so I wanted to talk a little bit, especially when I got my brother Stevie. I got somebody to talk to the wall about the NFL, or I could talk to Stevie on.
Hold on, Kyle. Hold on now. As many times as I can't say as many times. When I'm usually up here, And just a few minutes ago, we talked about wrestling. So
That's okay. That's okay though.
Because you know something about that, right?
Yeah, well, I could know a lot about the NFL. It just don't interest me. I'm assuming everybody else watch. I could be wrong. I guess the NFL is the most popular sport in America, but I'm assuming that most people that want or care about the NFL are watching the NFL right now. But I could be wrong.
Look, Christian Bateman that said give Keaton a Super Bowl. That would be the only reason I would even want the Ravens to even sniff a Super Bowl right there. Good Lord. Don't even talk about that. Sorry, Keaton. I hope you get traded to another team. But did you guys see the Cowboys cheerleader get hit in the head by the kickoff today?
Did you see the Cowboys getting hit with the nuts today? No, I didn't. I did not see
I'll tell you what, she's tough. She shook it right off. She got right back up, shook it off like never happened. She laughed it off. I was impressed.
Good. Tough girl. Glad to hear that. You guys still have no interest in the NFL.
All right, what are we back on now? What is Kyle's? What do we want to talk about?
We're going to talk revenue. We're going to talk revenue sharing and professional wrestling.
We just lost 50% of our audience. No, I'm kidding. Hey, Rob.
No, I'm just messing with y'all. Y'all enjoy talking NFL. I am sure we have an audience for that. And this show's kind of wide open tonight as college football season is over. Baseball hasn't started, and basketball is the drizzling shits. So, mixing some NFL talk is fine by me.
The Lions are up 10-6 at halftime, Kyle.
Tremendous.
How many players, Stevie, help me with this, and I promise we'll talk. I've got something else we can talk about with you guys real quick. What is the rule on resting players? Is there a percentage? I heard something about, but I heard something about that on the radio coming home from the basketball game, but I didn't get a definitive, is this percentage or number of players you can rest?
See, I've never heard that, but it's possible because it's always like the Chiefs today, they rested majority of their offense, except for the line. I mean, I know Mahomes, Kelsey, they were out. And it was there was more guys on defense that rested than there was offense, but they got blown out too, 38-0 by the Broncos. But I don't know if that's an actual rule. I have to look that up, Dave.
That's what I've never heard that, so that's why I want to ask you about that. Frank Durham talks about baseball. We are going to have baseball, and Stevie, you're welcome to be with us, obviously, on Extra Innings. That'll be coming up in a few weeks. And then, KC got destroyed. Robert's asking about is the name coming back for the Redskin name. There's a lot of rumors. The North or South Dakota senator, I can't think of his name. He's pushing it really hard in Congress. I'm not getting my hopes up. The owner said he's not bringing it back, so I don't think it's going to happen. But if it does, Kyle, you're a business guy. How many jerseys, guys, and T-shirts and merchandise do you think they could sell if they went back to the Redskins?
I didn't know I was a business guy, but I get what you're saying.
No, you are. That's the industry you're in, is T-shirts.
Right. Yeah. Well, I work there. A lot. I'll just put it that way. You bring back the Redskins branding, and you're going to sell a lot of merch.
Yeah, I wanted to be a season ticket holder, but I refused until I knew that Daniel Snyder had to sell the team, and that's when I became a season ticket holder. So, but anyway, they should do it because they can make more money. That's why you're in business, right? Is to make money, or you're going to please people that are easily offended, I guess what it is. But anyway, I did have a question for you guys, and if we'll do last call for questions for people in the chat too. But I got a sidebar question I want to ask you guys. What are the 2025, and I know what Kyle's going to say. I'm interested to hear what Stevie says. Your favorite tours coming up for concerts in 2025. And we'll get back to final thoughts about football in just a second.
All right, well, Cody Jinks has got a new tour coming up for 2025. No date here yet. As far as concerts I'm going to, I got tickets for Brooks and Dunn with David Lee Murphy. I love indie country. Ward Davis is touring. I got tickets for him. I got tickets for Chris Knight. In terms of major tours, I'm not sure. Except Jinx is touring. Dwight Yoakam is touring with the Mavericks. They're going to be in Wilmington. Wouldn't mind having tickets for that.
In June, right?
But I don't know. I'd have to go look at. It is getting on to concert season, so I do need to start doing my research on who's coming where, etc. But I don't really have a good answer for you right now.
That's same here, Dave. I don't know. My band's gone. My band doesn't tour anymore. So, but gosh, I wouldn't even know. I don't know how to give you a good answer on that either.
I got.
Look.
Roanoke Rapids up Davies Way. Jeez, look at my
Davies.
Yeah, up Stevie's Way.
Davey
Marty Stewart is going to be there, and I was gonna get tickets for that, but I got tickets for a different show that night out in the western part of the state. So we'll not be going to see Marty Stewart, unfortunately. But had I not already had tickets for a different show, I'm not going to say the show I have tickets for because some people will make fun of it probably. But I would get tickets to see Marty Stewart. No, not you. I don't think you would.
He's going to see.
Based on some of the people you like, Stevie, no, I don't think you'd make fun of it.
Blackhawk is coming to Roanoke Rapids too. You remember that?
Man, that's not even funny. You know my Blackhawk stuff, right?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, that's not even funny. That's not even. I'd love to see Blackhawk, but I only went to. I had to cancel going to see them twice, Stevie, when I had cancer.
I remember. You told me
that's
that.
a hell of a joke you just made, you son of a bitch.
I just said they were coming. I would have done a joke. Don't get so freaking.
No, I get it. I that was
Wow.
Blackhawk is coming to Roanoke Rapids. Yeah, okay.
Hey, I got the trade off. I'm usually the guy. Hey, Stevie, I'm glad you took one for the team.
I do not like your vibe.
I just don't have the vibe for it right now, Kyle.
Yeah, I do not like your vibe right now.
I'll tell you the one concert I want to see, guys, really bad is Brooks and Nunn. You mentioned Kyle. I told you I'm a huge fan of them.
Yeah, and David Lee Murphy being with them.
He is awesome.
Loving 90s country. I've never seen David Lee Murphy, one of the few 90s country stars I haven't seen. So I'm looking forward to seeing him open for Brooks and Nunn.
He would be great. He would be great to see. Never seen him as well. But the rock show that I want to see, don't think I'm going to be able to see it. I want to see Brooks and Dunn, which is a country show, the number one country show I want to see. The number one rock show that I want to see is Metallica. But I don't think.
Or they're going to be.
They're going to be all over the place. They're going to be at Bank of America. They're going to be at Virginia Tech at Lane Stadium. And they're going to be at Northwest Stadium where the Redskins play.
I would not mind going to see Metallica.
I like that.
It would really depend a lot on their lineup for me. I mean, their set list is what I should say.
Yeah,
they usually like to vary their set list a lot.
They do, and that's why I say that, Stevie. I mean, if they're going to play, they're going to play, 90% of stuff from Ride the Lightning. No thanks, but if they're going to mix it up with stuff from the Black Album and Justice for All and all that kind of, that's
yeah.
And sometimes they'll do shit like that. They'll just randomly, well, tonight 90% of our stuff is going to be from Kill 'Em All.
They did that last tour they did. It was like 2 nights in a row. They never played the same song 2 nights in a row.
Yeah, I don't like that. I want to hear. Everybody wants to hear Enter Sandman. Everybody wants to hear. The Unforgiven. Everybody wants to hear One. Everybody wants to hear Master of Puppets. Play your hits because this is some of our first opportunity to see you, and then go into some other stuff that some more obscure stuff that people want to hear. But hell, I want to hear them play Turn the Page and Whiskey in the Jar, and I liked a lot of their '90s stuff that was that came a little later, late '90s. But anyway, we're becoming the music objective.
No, I know.
It's on the fly on the sports.
Yeah, suddenly we're Stevie's podcast.
I had to throw that in there because all three of us love music and concerts. So, getting back to football, we'll make a nice seg. James says Notre Dame is going to win the national championship.
Wow.
Well, I mean, I could see that happening. I mean, they're red hot.
He also said the Ravens are going to win the Super Bowl too. So I don't know if I got a lot of confidence in Ron James too.
Well, Stevie James, I've known James for a long, long, long time, and he's a very stupid, stupid man. So,
Oh my God.
I don't know.
Hey, that's a definitely a loser. What is it? Loser go leaves town match. It sounds like to me between Kyle and James. That'll be. We could make a lot of money off that, Stevie.
Probably could.
Yeah,
I'd like to see Kyle out there.
You got two big boys there going at it with me and James. It's gonna be yeah, it look like two titans. Only one of us is legally blind, and the other one's got diabetes and all kinds of other health problems. So we'll just sit there and just look at each other for a while. We'll go at it hard for about 50 seconds, and then we'll be like, "Screw this crap. Let's have a donut."
Have a beer.
No, I'm going to give him a donut. That way he's diabetic. Then I'll take advantage.
Oh man! Wow. Ohio State is good, but can Ryan Day win the big game? How about Justin Butts here? They're going to win the national championship. Wow, Omaha. We're going to Omaha, according to Justin, apparently.
Yeah, I don't know about that, Justin. We got a young baseball team this year. This year to me is try to win the American and just make a regional. Who knows what happens when we get in the regionals? God knows we were a 3 seed when we almost went to Omaha at Texas Tech, so anything can happen. But I think we'll be one of the best teams in the American, but I don't know that we'll be one of the best teams in America this year. But time will tell, and I expect this team to get better as the season goes.
Yeah, don't give up on this team, as Kyle would say. And we're going to have obviously extra innings this year every Sunday night, and starting in February, the middle of February. And obviously, guys, another thing, Stevie, like to invite you back on. I'm looking at doing sometime. We have our regular show on Sunday nights right now, guys, and then sometime during the week we're going to have a Hot Stove League show with the Pirates. And where we get the chance to just it's a great fun time to kind of talk and dream and Omaha bound. That's got to be your goal, right? I mean, we'll
do a baseball preview show at some point, a Hot Stove League show, if you will, and before baseball season starts. But yeah, of course, the dream and the goal is always Omaha. I just don't know that we have the team this year to get us there. But like I said before, one of the closest we ever came was we were a 3 seed and won the Virginia Regional, and then almost won that Texas Tech Super. So
90 feet away.
We will. Yes, exactly. We will be competing for the NCAA tournament this year, and as long as we get in the dance, we have a chance.
Hey, Justin, he says, let me know how it can be a part of the Hot Stove League show. I'll make you a deal. Kyle wants to be a part of your suite for football in 2025. Jesus. So if you do that, you can be on the show.
That's not. I don't. It's not true.
Wow. Johnny Robertson gave me a compliment.
Well, JR, what did he say?
I like Steve. Always qualifies as a fellow Virginian.
That's right.
Kyle says I already am a Virginian. So
you're so damn far north, you might as well be. You're right there at the border. So
the border, but I'm not there.
You grew up just south of Richmond. He did. JR, the second compliment for Stevie tonight. He had one for me and you at the game. He said what he liked about me and you is we talk like we're from Eastern North Carolina.
There you go.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Ron, James, take some Advil and a shot of whiskey.
What?
Is that because he said the Ravens are going to win the Super Bowl? You telling me to do that?
He said that he predicts Southern Miss and East Carolina will meet in Omaha. That's what he's talking about.
You know what? That's entirely possible too. Southern Miss has got a good baseball program.
I need to, man, to take some Advil and a shot of whiskey.
There you go.
Because Kyle's going to mention again about revenue sharing. So everybody take a shot. Was that what that is? Somebody taking a shot now? Stevie, were you taking a shot? I guess not. All right, guys. You guys have final thoughts?
I think y'all should keep talking over each other. That's pretty good.
It's a delay. I'm sorry. That's not on purpose.
Just happy with these portal signings this weekend. Good weekend for the Pirates in the portal. Enjoyed meeting Rajay today and getting the picture. And somebody needs to tell me what size that picture is. I'm gonna go post that on HTC, see if I can get some answers. But that's all I got, guys. You're kind of getting to this point of the year where football's over, baseball hadn't got here, so all we really got is basketball. So it is what it is. These shows on Sunday night will be varied topics. We'll kind of be all over the place. So if you like it, great. If you don't like it, watch something else. But it is what it is right now. It's kind of a hodgepodge until we get baseball going.
No doubt. And Stevie, you're always welcome, brother. It was great to have you on tonight. That would be great for. We got one more question.
Stevie will be joining us every week, at least up until baseball, Dave.
Yep. Let's see. Did Cliff ever entertain bringing Stanford or Cal into Greenville for midweek games when they play triangle schools?
Yeah, that's a good question, and we'd have to ask Cliff. But that is, that is a very interesting question. Because Stanford and Cal will be coming out here for baseball, and you would think they would want to play some midweek games out this way some for either travel back or getting here. So that's who asked that question?
That's Frank, one of our new guys.
Yeah,
Frank,
that's a good question. That is something that we'll have to look into.
All right. And Christian says Lasker is officially the border. No, for the Virginia.
There you go. It's true. It's true.
Well, I mean, if the Outer Banks, the TV show, can be Inner Banks, but they're supposed to be Outer Banks, then why not? This is not geographically correct. Then why not?
They're in South Carolina anyway, so who cares about that show?
Yeah.
I love that shit, man. What are you talking about?
You did say you watched it, which
I watched the whole thing. I have to give credit to my daughter for getting me watching that, because I was just like y'all. I was like, I'm not watching the show because it's not realistic. But
I'm not watching.
It's like the Goonies meet some kind of modern day show now. It's like a modern day Goonies is what it is.
Okay.
Pretty good.
I never thought Goonies would be mentioned on our podcast, but you never know.
Goonies is great. That's right up my alley.
That's a great movie, of course.
It is a great movie.
What was the song Cyndi Lauper had about the Goonies?
The Goonies are good enough. That was the name of the song too. The Goonies are good enough.
I know. It's horrible, David.
Horrible name. They could have just called it Good Enough, not the Goonies are and R. It was just the letter R.
R. Yeah. And she's on her. We'll end the show this way. Frank's you love the Goonies as well, but
I mean, if you don't like the Goonies, if you were like in our generation, which Kyle, I know you're not, but still, if you're in that time frame.
Wait a minute. Wait. Is that an insult? I'm saying because I'm younger.
You're younger than. I'm saying you're younger than us.
I'm still your damn generation. You're 50.
Yeah.
Well, how old are you, Stevie? 51.
51.
Yeah, and I'm 44. I mean, it ain't that damn much ever.
But still,
I don't remember the 70s.
In that time frame, if you didn't like the Goonies, something had to be wrong with you.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, we all watched the Goonies. I mean,
those kids
One-Eyed Willie and
hey, you guys.
Exactly. Yeah, I cannot think of the guy's name right now. The deformed dude.
Sloth.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, do you remember who played him?
Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
That's horrible. John Matuzak. He was an NFL player. The Raiders.
Okay.
Frank Durham's talking about the music video for
the Goonies.
The Goonies are good enough. Had all the old school WWF wrestlers.
They did. I remember Captain Lou being in that video.
But we're not allowed to talk about anything ECU stuff, according to Kyle.
No, I just said you couldn't talk NFL.
Stevie, am I a white girl? No, far from it, Christian Bateman.
Are you a white girl? What?
Why did he say that?
Because he's on pain meds. Get off the pain meds, Chris.
But look at his picture. He has a picture of him with are you? Oh, I know why he said that. Because you watch Outer Banks.
Oh.
No. Good job, Christian. Christian Bateman coming with that's good job, Christian.
Outer Banks wasn't bad, dude. Like I said, it was like a modern day Goonies.
He's pretty fly for a white girl.
Frank
Durham is exactly right. This show is turning south quick.
All right, let's get out of here. I agree with you. We're trying to get out of here. Final thoughts, guys. before we get out of here?
Stevie is in fact a white girl.
I appreciate you guys having me on, even though Kyle's an idiot, but enjoy it, guys. And I'll anytime you want me back on here, you just let me
Next
know.
Sunday night, Stevie, I told you, you're helping us out until baseball season. So the listeners and viewers, get ready for more shenanigans.
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good. All right. Thanks to Matt. Thanks to all of you. Appreciate you all very much. We'll get out of here. Until next week, we'll see you right here on the Sports Objective. Good night, everybody. And as always, go Pirates.
You're watching the Sports Objective, the podcast for Pirates.